Jay, it's been three really close games with this Golden Knight team. What makes this such a good matchup?
I think two good hockey teams, dangerous forwards on both teams, decors that can move the puck, and goaltenders that find ways. Like you said, 3 1-goal games, and we're going to have our A game in order to get the 2 points tonight that we want.
How much of an emphasis is it for your team to make it tougher to get to prime real estate in front of your net?
Yeah, I think so. I actually thought in that game in Edmonton there, we had a span at the start of the third period that we didn't like, but there were some really good moments in that game for us as well. For me, it's going to be a turf war for zone time out there. So sometimes that comes down to, how you manage pucks in certain situations and how you sometimes just gain territory. And if we can gain territory and be hard to play against, then I think we'll spend more time in the other team's end, which is where we want to be.
When it comes to managing pucks, as you mentioned, when it comes to tougher competition against the Vegas Golden Knights, you can't really give them an inch. How do you feel like your team has fared in that department so far as of late?
Yeah, well, as of late, there's some areas of our game that we can tighten up. Saying that, I think we've lost 2 games in the month of March in regulation. Our team has done some really good things here, specifically since post-Christmas, specifically since the middle of January, specifically since the start of February. And I don't think that can be underscored. We've done a lot of really good things, but we want to get our game in a position where we feel comfortable regardless of who our opponent is in our first-round matchup. Now, all that said, you still have to go through the march to the playoffs. You have to find a way to clinch, and we're not there yet. And I do know that there's 2 points on the table tonight, and that's what we're going to be fighting over tonight.
Sometimes you got to ask the question you know the answer to, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Sure.
I know you don't look at the standings a whole lot. You say you don't. Everybody else out there is.
Yeah.
And they're all looking at this game and saying, if you don't win tonight, Vegas is out of sight. Does anything even remotely close to that sentiment get verbalized in your dressing room?
And I wouldn't say we don't look at the stand. Like, we look at, of course, everyone looks at the standings. We don't stress over them. We try and take care of what we can take care of. And the bone that we're fighting over tonight is the 2 points that are on the table. And both teams are motivated. Both teams are well positioned, and have performed well as of late. We don't stress about what happens if this happens or that happens. We worry about getting our game in order and trying to win the 2 points that are on the table tonight.
Vander Kane's had one of those seasons where he starts, then he stops, and he starts, and he stops. He has a good game, then he doesn't have a few because he hasn't played very much. Right. Where are you with however many games there are left to the playoffs, and where his game is to be where you want him to be when the playoffs begin? Yeah,
I don't think it's where his game needs to be, and I think that if you talk to Evander, he would agree with that. That said, he's done some good things, but that's what this last stretch is. He can't control that his season has had those stops and starts. I mean, he had a horrific injury. He's an absolute warrior. He came back early from it. Post All-Star break, he got injured again. Absolute warrior, tried to play through it. And now he's back, finally up and healthy, but the league's going really fast right now. And, I've seen positive steps in his return. But it's not. He's not yet at full speed or full capacity yet. But he's working towards it, and that's what we're trying to get from him.
Leon gets to 300 last night, Jay. Quick question about his finishing and his shooting. What makes it so difficult for opposing netminders to stop that shot?
Yeah, I think in last night's goal was a good example. Is that he's willing to shoot from all angles, so he's not working to get in the perfect position all the time. He takes what comes to him, and he also tries to find solutions to how he's being checked, which means he's trying to find ice that is dangerous, that people aren't checking him in. And because he's willing to shoot it quick and shoot it dirty, he's found a lot of success.